Hello, welcome to Broncos TV with me, Tom Latcham, and Mike Eccles, the head coach of the London Broncos. His side faced Whitehaven away in the Betfred Championship. It's a Sunday 3 p.m. kickoff. We'll have updates on social media with Jake Watson, as we do every week here on the Broncos social media. And there's also commentary on BBC Cumbria on the BBC Sports website. If you can't make that, get along to the home games that are remaining. There's general admission and Gold Lounge tickets available for those two remaining home games. And don't forget, how could you? Our women play Cardiff Demons in the Betfred Super League South playoff final on Saturday afternoon. It's live. You can watch it free on Our League. And of course, we'll be bringing you live updates from our media man, Mike Johnson, down in Wales. But before that, let's turn to a preview of that aforementioned Whitehaven game with Mike. Mike, seems funny to say this now, but the Broncos are currently one of the 4 teams in the championship and 7 wins in 10. How does it feel to think about that, particularly given that we only won once in our first 10 games?
We don't really. We don't. We just, they all were taking one game at a time. So, but no, it is nice. We have a few bits have got back to us this week, but we're just literally focusing on this next game, mate. It's nice. It shows, the improvement in the team. And who knows, mate, if we'd have got over the line in that York game and the Widnes game, which we all very much think we should have done, we might have even had a crack at them playoffs, but we left ourselves too much to do, mate.
Yeah, you did. But, it's no less of a feat, frankly. It's been quite the turnaround. Whitehaven is a long trip. It's a tough place to go. You've mentioned that in the past when we've interviewed you. They beat Bradford last week in what was something of a rare victory for them. But playing the way that we have been recently in the form that we are going to be favourites to win. Would you say that's fair?
No. I've won very direct with the players last night about how difficult this trip is and how much respect I have for them as a club, and particularly on the home patch, and Johnsy, who's their current head coach, been there a long time. They are, mate, on their patch, this is as tough an away game as there is. I seem to say this every week because every away game in Championship is tough, but Whitehaven away, in my time in rugby league, in my 10 years at London and my time at Salford, I've won once there. So that's how tough an away game it is. And we've been favourites there most times. So no, I don't accept that. I think on their patch, with the motivations they have to win the game, they are safe in the Championship for next year. That they'll be the favourites of this game. If you look at previous form, if you look at what's at stake, certainly they'll be the favourites for this game. So,
well, you're a man who, as we've seen in the last 10 games, bucks trends. And what are you aiming to do to make sure that you buck the trend this time and you do come away with those 2 points from Whitehaven? How are you going to try to combat what they've got?
Just try and not play the crowd. Make sure we're aware of the dimensions of the ground and the style of rugby we need to play to accommodate that. Different game up there. We won't be playing the same as what we've played in recent weeks without giving too much away, because it is different. The ground is tight, it's narrow. The crowd are on your back. We need to make sure that we are extra clean around the ruck, and that we give that extra half a yard to make sure we're on side with the referee, make sure we're speaking to the referee all the time, and make sure we do all those little things right, because it's a hostile crowd, and it's one we need to be aware of.
Well, how do you prepare players for a hostile crowd? I mean, you can prepare them for plays, you can prepare them for individuals, but it's bit tricky to prepare them for a crowd. And Mikel Arteta in the Arsenal documentary, they went to Liverpool, and it was a bit of a gimmick, to be honest, but he played "You'll Never Walk Alone" out of a big speaker at training. They went and got beat 4-1, so it didn't work. But I mean, it was a nice idea. What do you do? How do you make sure that the players aren't cowed by that?
I think, like I just said to you there, I think when 50-50 calls notoriously go the way of the home team when you've got a hostile crowd. So this is nothing new either. We've prepared for this before. Like Dewsbury was very, very similar, actually. Very hostile crowd, always on the referee's back. it's amazing when you watch the video when I'm previewing them. You know, there are some of the most obvious non-forward passes that the opposition do, and they're all screaming forward, and you know, at some point they do get those calls. So what I do to the players is just put it on them really and say that you have to take that out of the equation. We have to be we call it extra squeaky clean with our in-tackle management, making sure that we don't go early at all on our line speed, making sure that we're speaking to the referee, that he knows that relevant to what the crowd are shouting, that we're with him and we're you know, adhering to what he wants. So it's those things are even more important at grounds like Whitehaven.
How interesting. How's training gone this week?
Good. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. We're confident. We feel like we prepare well every week, Tom. You know, I never really get to the start line and think, oh, you know, we've not prepared well. I believe in the group. I always enter every game thinking we're going to win the game. That's my kind of mentality. I believe that we prepare the players the best we can within the realms of and the resource that we have, and I believe that they can deliver, and I believe we can get the job done on the weekend. But it's going to be a big ask. I think arguably this will be our best win under me if we can get the job done.
Okay. And what's our team news? Of course, we welcomed back Callum Garhan last week, and it was great to see him out on the pitch when he was expected to not play any part this season. There's one other long-term injury. It's Rhian Horsman. Are we going to perhaps see him at some point, or is this week come too soon?
Rhian Horsman will be in the squad.
Fantastic.
Same as last week with Callum. Whether he plays or not, will be unveiled on Sunday. But he'll be joining the 21, which I'm made up for Rhian. It's been a long road for him, but he's been back on the field in full training now for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he's been getting better and sharper. So he may feature at the weekend. Ronnie Palumbo is still struggling with a bit of a knee injury. So the only main news I've got for you, mate, is Ronnie will drop out of the squad. He was still in the squad last week with a possibility of playing, but he's not quite right this week. And then Rhian Horsman will come into 21.
They've been, and I speak as someone who is, you know, sort of on the fringes of the squad and talks to people. He's been very much, well, they both have, both Callum and Rhian have both been very much present around, working alongside you, giving their support in another way. How proud have you been of the way that, well, both of them, but Rhian in particular because he's back this week, how they've been working with the squad despite, you know, the annoyance, I would imagine, and frustration of not actually being able to play?
Well, it was two things really. We have been short-staffed because of the changes, and it was my wish the club would have helped me bring people in if that was my wish. But it was my wish that as a group we got out of the mess that we were in. I said to the group, we were the ones who were in this mess, and we're going to get ourselves out. And part of that was I wanted some of the long-term injured players to play more of a prominent role on match day. So whether that was running yellow t-shirt, which is running messages that come from me, whether that's sitting up top with me, giving me an extra pair of eyes. And with Callum and Rhian, it was perfect really because the positions they play, particularly Rhian being a half, it's been really good for him to sit up top with me and have a bird's eye view of the game for his development, but also it helped the team as well. So it was two things really. I wanted to get them back involved because they've been away from the group for so long. And secondly, it was to help me in the team. So yeah, really proud of them, mate. And I'm glad we did that because it's made them part of it, albeit they've not actually played. They felt part of it now for the last kind of 6 to 8 weeks since they've kind of taken up those match day roles.
In your eyes as a coach and as Broncos coach, do you think do you get the feeling, the impression that Rhian, who's coming back this week, we'll talk about him, particularly has been your eyes, and you mentioned, you know, plays a particular role so we can see it. Do you think it will have helped develop his game and improved him, despite the fact he's not even playing?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. Because how often do they get to do that? Sit up top and have a bird's eye view, and you're sitting there discussing. So there's myself, Sam, the analyst, who knows what I'm looking for, and Rhian. So it's discussion throughout the game of what's going on. And you know, it's so much easier from up top. You see things unfolding before they do at ground level, obviously. So it's been a real, a good learning tool for him. in particular, and obviously Callum was down at ground level for most weeks. So yeah, that was the idea. It was a development tool for them, first and foremost for their rugby. Secondly, to get them back involved, and finally just to help me and support me.
Okay. You started your reign by saying you wanted to make us solid by not throwing the ball around too much, by being tight at early doors, and then eventually moving to become more expansive. And then it's quite clear that the style of rugby has now changed, which you alluded to last weekend, although you've just made a hint that it might go back again because you're playing a slightly different game. And, tactics have got to be different in every game. But there's clearly a different style of rugby being played. The lads are recycling the ball more. There are more offloads before tackles happen. What has brought about that change or allowed you to bring about that change?
Just confidence. So, week one, we started to do it in games, and we're not there yet. The team's not there yet to play a little bit off the cuff, and those things weren't going for us. Rather than the ball, we're kicking early, and rather than the ball sitting in goal, it was going dead, and then we were making 7 tackles, and it was counterproductive. So we had to just get a foothold in the season, a foothold in games, and also just some cohesion and togetherness. So that team now, if you look, the starting 13's been very, very much the same for a long time now, Tom. So we're just getting used to the way each other plays and combinations, and which allows us to do that. So when City gets the ball now, Paul Ulberg knows what he's going to do, and so does Alex Walker. And so they're just sniffing around, knowing where he's going to go and his ability to promote the ball. Same with Wellington Albert, the same with Sam Davis. People understand now, where they're going to go and what they can do with the ball. So it's just been a combination of cohesion, Tom, and confidence to promote the ball.
Well, you said you'd instructed them to play like that, and then last week you said that you had to take the blame, and sometimes, as it doesn't, as it sometimes doesn't come off. Are the players, though, enjoying having that freedom a bit more? They certainly seem to be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's catch-22, isn't it? You promote I want them to play within a structure, but within that structure, a freedom, and play the game what I perceive to be the right way. We're really, really tough and gritty defensively. We're not going to give you anything. But with the ball, yes, we have a certain structure in terms of where we want to be around the field at certain parts of the game. But there's also a freedom and almost like I would call it a freedom to the way we play, and you're playing what you see at times rather than just to a rigid structure. So it's a fine line to get it right. And last week we won the game comfortably, really, I felt. But we did come up with a lot of errors, and that can be a product of promoting the ball as much as we do at times.
You are, of course, Mike, from a strength and conditioning background, but you also seem to be quite able to coach some really rather decent rugby. How have you found the change in role?
It's been a funny one, really, because I've worked with a lot of really good coaches, a lot of very, very good coaches. So at my time at Salford and at my time at London. So you're just forever learning, aren't you? And you're forever in deep discussion with the coaches, and you've been through, hundreds of games and probably thousands of reviews and previews with the coaches. And I suppose a lot of it was probably subconscious, really, in that how much you're taking in. There is a consciousness to learning, but I probably realised subconsciously I learned a lot more than what I realised from a lot of the great coaches I've worked with.
But did you know that before you took the job, or has that surprised you since you took the job, like quite how much you sponged up?
Well, I know the game. I know that, and I know that. I know that I was very capable of putting a good game plan together to get results in this competition. I knew where our strengths were, and knew where our weaknesses were, and I think I'd like to think probably my biggest strength is emotionally. I can I have a good connection with the players. I like to think my mentality of the hatred of losing and the wanting to win rubs off on the players, and I feel I've probably got that over quite well to them and what it means to represent the club. And I probably think they're the biggest things, really, before the technical and tactical aspects of it. I think, yeah, you're probably right. I probably did realise probably how much I'd taken on board.
That's great. Do you though realise or appreciate perhaps that there are areas that you aren't stronger, and without giving a huge amount away, because I know that talks are ongoing about what your role is going to be next season, and if you are in the role, who you'd be supported by, but you don't have to go into that. But do you see that actually it would be very, very useful to have certain elements come in to support you, because you perhaps are stronger at some things and less strong at others?
100%, yeah, and that's always the case. Whoever's in charge need to surround themselves with people who are stronger in areas that they're not. And it's as simple as that. And I think that comes with a growth mindset. You need to understand your strengths, and you need to be even more aware of your weaknesses. And because what the job of the head coaches and what the job of all the staff is at the club is to provide the best service for players and the best opportunity for players. So it's unfair on the players if you're bringing in people who are like for like strengths of yours, and whether it's good cop, bad cop, whether it's the emotional side of coaching, or whether it's the tactical aspect of it, whether it's attacking, whether it's defensive, whatever that may be, mate. So I'm 100% aware of my weaker areas, and I'd like to think I know where. No comment. No, it's important, though. It's important. We do it as a staff every year. You need deep reflection. What have you done well? Well done. Okay, well, what have you done poorly? Fix it up. How do we do that? How do we help each other? That's really important. And it's that's the culture that we've built for a while, and it's something that I'm very keen to make sure we reinstill.
And as I say, some of the rugby in recent weeks has been great to watch. I know that last week you said that yes, we got a comfortable win and perhaps didn't play as well as we might, but some of the games, and even not all the whole games, some patches of games have been exceptional in terms of their rugby. Would you be encouraging fans to get down and see some of the nice stuff we play? We've got 2 home games between now and the end of the season. What would be your plea to those who haven't actually been down in present and seen some of the stuff that you can be playing?
Yeah, it's not a gimmick. Like, get down. It's what the lads have done. Some of the tries they've scored, Tom. I'm still top, and I'm just clapping. Like the try at Bradford, some of the stuff that City's doing with Paul and Alex Walker on that edge, and Ollie Leyland with Will Lovell's link on the other side, mate, it's incredible. Some of the way the middles are playing, the way they're promoting the ball is exciting, and I'm really, really proud of them, mate. The way that they've turned it around, and they are an exciting team. We are an exciting team to watch. We are what I wanted us to be. We're really tough, gritty defensively, and we're certainly putting on a show with the ball going forward. So 100%, I'm very proud of what we're doing, and I want as many people to see it as possible.
Well, he's not wrong. And if you do want to get to either of those home games, because we appreciate that Whitehaven is quite a long way to go, you've got Lee on September the 4th, and Barrow's the final game of the season on September the 11th. Tickets are available for both those games, general admission and Gold Lounge. They're available on our website at londonbroncosrl.com. Also, remember, our women play Cardiff Demons in the Betfred Super League South Playoff Final. That's on Saturday afternoon. It's live. You can watch it for free on Our League, with live updates as well from our guy, Mike Johnson, down there in Wales. But, of course, Mike Eccles involved in that Whitehaven game is Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff in the Betfred Championship. We'll bring you updates on social media. Jake Watson will be there for us. And if you can't make it, it's a long way. Commentary is on BBC Cumbria on the BBC Sport website. Mike, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you the very best on this long and arduous trip to Cumbria.
Thanks, Tom. And just finally, as you just touched on there, just a massive good luck to the ladies, Colin, Ben, John, all the staff over there as well, and just what a season you've had. And irrelevant of the result, you should be really proud of yourselves this year, and we're all behind you, and just go for it. Enjoy the day.
We absolutely are, and we should point out as well, we understand the RFL are talking about there's a potential for the London Broncos women to be in Super League come around about 2024. So exciting times for the women, exciting times for the men, exciting times for the club, frankly, after a period of change. So good luck, Mike. Thank you. Good luck to the women, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Tom.